Located at 511 South Main Street, Corbin, Kentucky, Sugar Booger's Custom Cakes has been bringing delicious treats to the Tri-County area for over a decade. Whether it be a cupcake, cookie, cake pop, brownie, or a signature one-of-a-kind custom cake that will be the star of any event, Sugar Boogers has you covered. Easy online ordering with polite, knowledgeable staff guaranteed to make each experience easy and stress-free. Go check them out on Facebook or give them a call for a free estimate. Sugar Boogers Custom Cakes for all occasions, 606-344-6595.
To help our county, to help our district, most definitely our district, but it's our county too, to help it move it in the right in a better direction, and be able to leave it better than I found it. Be there when you call. Be a face. Be a voice for the 4th District, and I promise you, I'll give you 110%. Number 1 on the ballot. Hopefully, I'm number 1 in your heart come May 19th. Appreciate your vote.
Eugene Smith.
Putting the 4th District first. Leadership you can trust and results you can see.
Paid for by the candidate.
How do you do? Come on in, old friend. Oh, you're welcome anytime. Sit right down and we'll have a talk, and you can tell me what's on your mind.
In the heart of Corbin, something extraordinary is taking center stage. A venue where music feels timeless, where every performance matters, and every guest is treated like they belong to something unforgettable. Built on elegance, driven by integrity, designed for artists, dreamers, and nights that deserve an encore. This isn't just another venue, it's the new sound of Corbin. Kenny's, located at 4672 5th Street Road. Come out and hear good music.
You got to come check out this new venue, Kenny's. This is Mayor Susie. I totally approve this message, and I approve this place.
Well, she found him with a Winchester to his throat, with a tear in his eye.
Are you looking for somewhere in Corbin, Kentucky to host your next event? Here we have it at Harvey's on Main at 115 Main Street. Let's check it out. Step into timeless charm and unforgettable elegance at this stunning historic venue. With breathtaking architectural details and an inviting open floor layout, Harvey's is the perfect setting for your next special event. Delight in the breathtaking bar complete with tap, a fully equipped kitchen for seamless catering, clean and accessible restrooms, a beautiful elevated stage for speakers, performers, or presenters, and for weddings and formal events, relish in the comfort and privacy of the bridal suite. Whether you're hosting an intimate gathering or a large celebration, Harvey's on Main provides the perfect scene to create lasting memories. Thoughtfully designed by the owner, who will be by your side every step of the way to ensure all your wants and needs are met. Book today and let Harvey's bring your vision to life.
Are you a jerky jerk?
You're holding it, right?
Yeah, I got it.
Just give me 1 second.
RJ's Beef Jerky. Real jerky for real jerky jerks.
Can you give me a piece?
Yeah, of course.
Kick off your boots, come gather round. We're digging up secrets that can't stay down. Bigfoot's out there in the midnight air. Aliens watching from who knows where. No sugarcoating, we're saying it straight. Bigfoot, alien, CIA. No sugarcoating, the truth on display. Jericho and Paul, bring it your way. Oh! From small town whispers to city lights, we're hunting the truth in the dead of night. Conspiracies spin and the rumors fly. Country Cupid is gonna tell you why. No sugarcoat. call it crazy, we just ask why. Laugh if you wanna, but you just might see there's more to the world than they want it to be. No sugarcoating, we're saying it straight. Bigfoot, alien secrets to break. No sugarcoating, the truth on display. Jericho and Paul, bring it your way. Truth or a tale, come and see. We're gonna have some fun, y'all.
In a world where feelings are protected and men have traded big, beautiful beards for man purses and man buns, comes to you a podcast you always wanted and never knew you needed. A podcast where feelings are left at the door and conversations happen unfiltered and no sugarcoating. What is going on, No Sugarcoating Podcast fans? Paul Buchanan wanted to reach out. The month of April is going to be full of candidates. We're going to see a lot of different people from a lot of different positions running, primarily in Laurel County and the surrounding areas. The No Sugarcoating Podcast crew wanted to let you know that we are by no means journalists. Do not come to our show expecting breaking news in regards to what's going on in the elections. We simply have discussions. We are not journalists. We are not a news show. We have discussions. We set our candidates in front of a screen where they can read the messages and they can answer the ones they want to. And we try to include the people watching's questions to the candidates. However, we're unable to get to all of them, and some of the questions the candidates cannot answer. They're just legally bound to not answering the questions. Again, and we can't make them tell the truth either, guys. So, just wanted to kind of let you guys know ahead of time. Hopefully, you'll see this before every episode of a candidate. But, yeah, guys, we're not a news crew. We don't pretend to be journalists. We have discussions. We try to bring out the best of everyone that comes here. We have no gotcha that we're trying to do to any candidate. With that said, I hope you guys enjoy the podcast. Have a great day.
What is going on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, wherever you want to find this beautiful bunch right here. So tonight is going to be more of a no sugarcoating. Yeah, we got Rick Coffman on here who does not want to spin the wheel. He just wants us to just be gentle with him. But we're not going to do that, guys. We're going to have fun tonight. So without further ado, I will put the camera over on him and let you guys decide for yourself. Boom.
What's up, everybody? Rick Coffman, number 3 on the ballot. Or my intro on your show, or are you? I didn't want to do the spin the wheel.
Well, so there was a condition that if Rick won, then we'd all have to do it. And it's like, nah, then we just won't do it at all.
So it's not just me that's not doing it. Paul's not doing it either. So thank you very much. Last thing I want to do is eat a hot jelly bean and then get all these hecklers and some tough questions going on while I'm sitting here sweating. So sorry, I'm not doing that. But I will answer y'all 3 questions at the end. You know, I'll do that.
We will be doing that for sure. So, like we do, guys, we always start the show. We're kind of getting to know our candidate, the way he can kind of tell you a little bit about himself. And then we'll get into the questions of why he wants to run for candidate and, you know, what changes he thinks he can make and, you know, what got him interested in doing it. And then that'll get us through the first hour. And the second hour, we're going to kind of turn it over to you guys and see what kind of questions you have. So
let's do it. Let's
without
go.
any further ado, Rick, tell us about yourself.
I'll give you all some quick background because, no, I do not have a background in law enforcement. But I have been in CEO training for about 30 years now. So since I was in my young 20s, man, I've been running sales organizations of 50, 60 people, numerous companies. I ran my own company for 16 straight years. Let me tell you, business is hard. If you make it 16 years, you must know what you're doing to be in business for 16 years. So I ran a company called Shirt Warehouse. And then I had off-roading brands like Extreme Mud and Bourbon Bound, things like that. I sold over $1 million a year on Amazon. I was about $1.5 million to $2 million a year company. And then I was bringing that business down to Lilly. And then, so I come down here, I bought a house, and then I ended up building a 9,000 square foot building. And I brought my 3 big automatic presses, over 150 truckloads of inventory and equipment and all that. And then I met the corruption of Laurel County, and things went sideways for me, and which that will lead into why I'm sitting in this chair tonight. But so background is I've been in charge of, people would hire me to go into sales offices that weren't doing good and rehire and retrain and straighten them out, get the money right. So technically, they kind of mess with the wrong guy, because I'm actually a guy who can actually do this job. I'm probably more qualified to run a sheriff's office than a CEO, a business guy, is literally going to know more about it. I'm not going to be doing patrol. I'm not going to be doing all that. Of course, I'll learn all about it and everything that there is. I didn't know how to print screen print T-shirts when I started screen printing, but I ended up selling $2 million a year worth of T-shirts. So I typically will excel at anything that I got going on. I just wanted to share all that because it's not like I'm unqualified or incapable of managing staffs, budgets, tax collections. Motivating employees. Motivating salespeople are probably a lot tougher than motivating deputies. Deputies are like, yes, sir, yes, sir. Salesmen are like big whiny babies and all that. But so I do have the background and the experience and the knowledge and to literally do the job. So a little background there.
All right, so
let's go before that. Start from the beginning. When you come out of the womb.
When I come out of the womb.
Yeah.
Atlanta, Georgia, 1976. So I'm not from here originally. Lived in California as a child. I think kindergarten, first grade. Pennsylvania, Louisville, Kentucky, and then moved to Lexington, Kentucky, in about 85, 86. My mom became a real estate broker. She was one of the most legendary real estate brokers, still active today in Lexington. She used to, instead of selling houses one at a time, she got with all the builders and was selling 50 houses at a time.
That's awesome.
And then my whole family, my brother owns a big printing company as well. He prints all the shirts at Wildcat Off-Road Park. And hell, I've been coming down here since the 1990s, man. My brother keeps his boat over at close to Holly Bay Marina, I believe it is. He's got the big Tasmanian devil, or I should have said that. People probably be throwing stuff at him since he's my brother. Sorry, bro. But and then also Wildcat Off-Road Park. I've been coming there since they opened it up. My brother does those shirts for years. I was printing their shirts as well, and hosted some events there through the Extreme Mud brand in the years leading up to moving down here.
That's your brand, Extreme Mudding.
Yeah, trademark brand, Extreme Mudding. We got Extreme Mudding Group. It's got about 30,000 people in it, and a page as well. Whole line of merch and all that stuff, which will be coming back very, very soon. We're going to be starting operations up here in the next 30 to 60 days, just trying to figure out where exactly I'm going to put my new shop. But I started off in a spare bedroom of a condo with that business, and then end up I was buying shirts from somebody else, but then they weren't doing as good of a job printing the shirts and fast turnaround time for myself. So I bought a manual press and started doing it myself for a few years. And then I started printing so many shirts that it was better off to get a automatic press, a press that can print 400 or 500 shirts an hour. So I've been printing for Maker's Mark, University of Kentucky, Louisville shirts, brands all over the country, companies, businesses, the off-road brand, artists. I've been for that previous 2 years before coming down to Lilly, been, hosting events at all these off-road parks all over from Florida up to Michigan, shooting T-shirt cannons off, hyping them up, and just got a lot of experience in small business and business running, and know a lot of people through all that. Even had one of my big customers was down here. I had, McTribe is?
Mm-hmm.
You know McTribe?
Yeah, they're the corporation that owns a lot of the McDonald's around here, right?
Right. They, I was printing their McTribe uniform shirts right before all that stuff happened to me.
Awesome.
And man, they were spending about $5,000 or $10,000. That's a whole bunch of McDonald's from here all the way up to Georgetown for sales and all that stuff. So done lives before. I don't know if you can tell. I've done a few of them. So it was a little bit more fun when it was Whiskey Wednesday and we're at off-road parks on Thursday. It's a little bit more fun than politics. Do we have to talk about politics tonight?
Yeah, definitely.
Man, you guys are no sugar. Gosh.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely got to
listen,
talk about it.
We can have Happy Fridays too. There is, liquor.
I'll come back on Whiskey Wednesday if y'all want to start that one up.
Yeah.
I'll show you how that one's done.
So done tons of small business stuff. You come from a family that's business oriented. Your father was, and this is just, guys, if you're not following them on Facebook or whatever, please do that. I want you guys to be as educated of every candidate that's running. Rick shares a lot of his own stories, all of his history, and he's a pretty knowledgeable guy on a lot of things. So, guys, if you're not following him on Facebook, go check him out. But I was getting to that your dad was a big business guy too. So, I mean, it's
Yeah. I've seen both ends of the spectrum because my dad was a big time baller, man, in the 60s and 70s. He was in Louisville, real estate developer, building subdivisions, and somehow we ended up in. I mean, there's a whole long story about what all he's done, but, we were living in mansions and had airplanes and all that stuff back in the day, but we were in a motorcycle accident in 1981, and he never really fully recovered from that. So unlike my older siblings and my brothers and sisters, I grew up totally broke, no money, didn't have nothing. If you wanted anything, you just had to go out and get a job. And, remember GoFundMe was actually used to be go get a lawnmower, go lawn mowing and stuff. So I've been working since I was 14 years old, and last 2 years I haven't been doing a whole lot of work, except does everybody here know what group I run?
No, I don't know.
Justice for Laurel County group, the biggest thorn and pain in the butt in all the politics of Laurel County. So yeah, I run that one. And Bonnie runs that one too. Everybody say hi to Bonnie.
So now how many members are in that group?
There's 7,000, I think, 7,000 to 8,000 in there. And let me tell you, that's 7,000 members because we boot fake profiles out. And if people come in there, the whole point of that group is to give a voice to the silenced majority of the people. And because, I mean, it seems like if you speak out against Weddle, I mean, I'm sure I haven't seen it real quick here yet. They've been pretty nice to me so far. But there's people that will just heckle you and stalk you and harass you and try to get you arrested or get you arrested. And they're just, it's just a really nasty game that people play, and it's bully. So most people don't have the ability to speak out, so everybody's silenced. That's how tyranny and government works. They silence opposition, they run them off. And they've been doing it pretty good. But Facebook these days has come a long way in the last few years. Because, now it's making a difference, like city council meetings, people are having outrage when Cody got slapped the other day. That stuff didn't make it on Facebook before. Now it's making it on Facebook. So that group has changed a lot of things for Laurel County, whether people like to admit it. Bonnie's changed a lot of things by this constant calling out, is keeping, making everybody keep an eye on everything that's going on. So what they used to do, they already can't do anymore. And then they have to wear those pesky body cams. And those are already revealing what they kind of do. And what happened to Cody is not how they would treat anybody. If it was just a 21-year-old kid, they would have slapped him around just the same. So,
well, I mean, and Cody is the autistic guy.
Yeah, he is autistic.
That's the video that just kind of started up last week or maybe the week before last.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think everybody knows about that.
Well, and then where's justice for Doug Harless? What are we, a year and a half later? Getting to be pretty close to it?
Yeah, we're pretty close to
it. And then that's not just the London police. That would be our court system letting us down with justice. Am I wrong? So I think there's a lot of failing the system going on around here. It's really corrupt. I mean, we run polls in the group, and everybody seems to acknowledge that there's a ginormous corruption problem and bully problem. I mean, look, I'm getting bullied right here. The bathtub guys telling me I won't get 100 votes and stuff like that. He's bullying me. He's heckling me. Like he doesn't know me. If I met him somewhere, a little closer. Yeah. How's that? That work? I'm just kidding.
Well, you kept pushing it. You kept pushing it away.
Yeah.
So, but
sorry, I'm bouncing all over the place. I'm getting excited. I'm pretty passionate about what I'm doing because I'm not running for revenge or anything. I'm running because, well, when I first started running or wanted to run, well, first I had my own injustice, which if people want to ask questions and all that stuff, I'll be happy to answer those on the second half of the show. But where am I going with that? I'm sorry. They are starting to get me off track because I'm thinking about them. Body cam. or any positive changes. All right, they are distracting me. I might react to them. I said I wouldn't, but yeah, those body cams made a difference. Just ask the officers that are no longer on the police force because of what they did to Cody. So yeah, those body cams are doing a whole lot of good. I'm sorry, you have to keep me on focus here. I'm not used to reading all the comments while I do it.
Right. And no, it'll throw you off.
Yeah.
So now, what exactly made you decide? Hey, listen, I'm ready to try to take on being a sheriff of Laurel County.
Well, that's where I was going with that. First, I had my own injustice, and I couldn't find help anywhere. I reached out to city council. Of course, I lived out in the county; they couldn't help. I called everybody, and nobody just seems to really care. And it's pretty weird because I've never seen a government system or a court system that operates like it did. And then I was even retaliated, man. They were trying to throw me in prison for 1 to 5 years for criminal mischief for damaging a house that I just spent $150,000 and very much lived in by myself or with my son and had a contract on. And then, so I was suffering my own injustice of my life, being robbed, my property, my business, and then, man, I'll take a toll on you. And it happens to a lot of people, I found out around here. And then the Justice for Doug situation started up. And that's where the beginning of the Justice for Laurel County group came from, because in the beginning, I was posting some other injustices that happened on the Justice for Doug. They kindly asked me, there was different people running it then. So I was like, all right, well, I'll start Justice for Laurel County. So to give a voice for everybody. That's where I was going a minute there. I was talking about giving a voice for everybody. So people can post anonymously. And then, of course, you get hecklers that would go in there and, well, you're posting anonymous or this or that. Just it's so weird that full-grown adults go attack other adults like children. And I mean, literally, I think 8th graders sometimes have a higher maturity level than some of the heckling that goes on. So with Justice for Doug, and then seeing how that transpired, and then going to all these court dates that I went through, this town's pretty messed up. And a lot of people from around here may be not realizing how bad it is because you guys are from here your whole life. This is all you know. But I lived in other areas, and in other areas, we have constitutional rights. We have due process. In Woodford County, I think it'd be like a year or two, you might see one person get busted up on a mugshot. How often does that happen down in these parts? Or it used to.
It's happened.
Yeah, it's happened. Okay.
Probably more than like, but yeah.
And most of the people that are getting beat up, they're little dudes, man. It don't take a whole lot to restrain somebody and cuff them, and then there's no excuse for doing anything to anybody in a handcuffed in the back of a car. Why would you slap somebody? And then why would you support police department, or even the sheriff's deputies were sitting there laughing at all that? So I think I know that I could do a better job, and I didn't see anybody else really stepping up that could do it. I think there's a whole problem with the entire government system, whether it's the whole Republican Democratic thing anymore. I think it's just a division tactic to keep people divided. And then the whole political rotten corruption process just wants people arguing back and forth and fighting with one another. And the more divided they are, they can, like, while you're over here doing this, they're doing whatever they want behind the back. And, I start seeing, $5 million loan here, missing there. The school's $10 million. So, man, it's only going to get worse if people don't stand up and do something about it. And I think what needs to happen is business leaders need to step up and take over all these positions. Like running a business, we always had sales and marketing. That was a very difficult aspect of a business. Here, you don't have that. And all you have to do is just do it by the book. And there's no probable cause many of the times. People getting beat, slapped, bullied, stalked. I've gotten death threats. I'm speaking out for justice. I'm getting heckled and all that stuff. But
so that's one thing on your platform. You talk a lot about constitutional rights.
Yes, sir.
And that is something that you feel like that the sheriff's department is missing, or something that you'd like to really stand on.
Well, absolutely. I myself, one reason I know they're very corrupt is I went trying to get help because I was being robbed. I was being robbed of a property that I just invested all this money. I built a 9,000 square foot building, and yes, it was over $150,000. The house wasn't $150,000, but that $9,000 or 9,000 square foot building was pretty big. Then they tried to do criminal mischief on me for crimes. I think it was because I did a Facebook Live and I was recording them, and they really don't like to be recorded, especially back then, because what happened to me happened probably about 8 months before Doug Harless. And So I just a total corrupt system. And they're destroying lives. Now, see, I'm kind of fortunate because I'm fortunate that I happen to have an RV to live in, and I had tractors and cars. Hell, I still got a 1998 Expedition limousine sitting over in my neighbor's yard, man. So I've been selling off assets to where I'm thinking of the average Joe going into this court system being thrown out of their house. It's like they're destroying lives. It's no wonder that there's so many in this county in particular, aunts and uncles and grandparents raising kids and all that stuff. So it's just really bad. You get Root come in here and your Grimes come in here. They're one and the same. They've been running that sheriff's department for, I don't know, however long. But they were best of buds, and Weddle and Root were buds. And, oh, my God, Weddle, he doesn't live in the Kiwi. I mean, I can't even believe he's trying to pull all that stuff off. It's just, and then there's so many people that support these people that are corrupt. And I just really don't understand it. But I'm willing to do something different about it. And, like I said, I'm number 3 on the ballot. So if people want change and they want that to end, it can happen. Or you can vote for the people that have been doing the same all this time, and you're going to keep getting the same result.
So and I think that's something that's what I've seen you push a lot is, guys, I'm kind of staying alone. Like you.
Well, that's a benefit to having me here. So far, I've seen how politics here are. Now, I've never been heavily involved in politics before, but it's just crazy. I don't trust anybody. The only person I trust in this county that wants to do the job to serve the people, for the people, protect the people, make every decision for the people would be William Eversole for Judge Exec. I haven't seen anything major about the council. I hear all the stuff about them, and I definitely know them and stuff and communicate with them. But, it's like, I don't know. It's like old corruption, new corruption. Everybody has ties to everybody and all that stuff. And I think that's another benefit for me is that I don't have any ties. My only obligation are the people that would elect me to be sheriff and to serve those people. So I'm not going to do no favors for anybody. I'm not going to let one person get away with the crime and then be somebody else. All the hecklers and all that stuff, all that. I don't have a duly noted list where I'm writing their names down. Most of these people, if they walked up on the street, I'm not going to know who any of these people are. And I don't really hold anything against all these people that are heckling me because they're just going based upon the information that they've heard. And I've only been limited on how much I can get out. I don't have $100,000 to go spend on a campaign and all that stuff. So, but Facebook is a new era, to where you can reach a lot of people on Facebook, and the group's done well. I got like about 2-3 million views in the last month, so I'm up a little bit more on people getting the message and stuff. My inbox is always lit up for every one of these hecklers. I got 10 people sitting there saying, man, you're saying what I wish I could say, but I can't because I'll get silenced and all that stuff.
I think that's important that you mention that because the sides are so tight right now. Like you had said, agreeing with one person means that you have to disagree with somebody else. Because the lines are so tight,
Well, you'd be surprised at how many friends I've had when I was going against Weddle, because it's overwhelming the amount of people that really do not like Weddle. It really is. I mean, they're the loudest that love him, but they're not a majority by any means. And then so I had a bunch of people that loved what I did going, but then when I started in on John Root, now I'm crossing the line, and people are turning their backs, and people are saying, I don't like your group anymore, or the mayor's support page, there's like 1,800 posts on there, and about 1,700 of them are literally AI pics with children's tunes making fun of, the council and other people. Me and Bonnie had quite a few AI pictures made of us. Some of them were pretty funny. I actually got a kick out of some of them. And that stuff doesn't really bother me. So, to each his own. I'm not holding any grudges against anybody. I'm not making any lists. So if I am actually elected, the people that are heckling me, you guys would, if you hung out with me, you'd really probably we'd have a good time. We always have a good time. I'm trying to protect your constitutional rights. I'm trying to, we'll get into some stuff in the second half of like what I'll do with as sheriff and all that stuff, but with the things that would be done different to reduce the amount of arrests and things like that. And then of course I'm going to have the issue of, well, I'm not going to have as big of a budget, so I have to, there's a lot more to it than what people think. It's not just because you're a really great cop does not mean you're going to be the most ideal candidate to literally run the organization, from the collecting taxes to the secretaries to all the different levels of people. So
see, I don't really see you go back and forth with many people on the justice page.
Well, we never do.
I see you post something and you just kind of leave it.
Yeah, I'm polite to everybody because even the people doing all that stuff, if I can't just yell at everybody like the sheriff does or Janie does, or just start cussing people and making stuff up, to where I have to be professional. And if I expect my deputies to be professional, I have to deal with it. I see it over here. No, I do not have a warrant. I'm trying not to even look at the comments because they are distracting. I don't deserve any of that anybody's doing. I'm actually a victim, and I'm a victim standing up for people's rights. So the fact that I get, no, we don't block because we disagree with them. We leave their comment that they made. We block people for heckling people like you are. That's probably why you're blocked. If anybody says they're blocked from our page, know that they were giving somebody a hard time or just there to argue, when the whole point of the group is to give a voice to the people to speak out against corruption, not to be part of the silenced majority. So they're supposed to be free to speak. And fake accounts. I mean, that's half the profiles we boot out. If I never booted anybody out, we'd probably have over 10,000 people in the group. I wouldn't be surprised, between the fake accounts and all that stuff. And then people, if you give somebody crap for posting anonymously, you're out of the group. I mean, it's just the rules. We want people to have a voice, and these people don't want you to have a voice.
Well, I mean, you said a couple of times, silent majority.
Silence majority, right?
Yeah. What does that mean? What does that mean?
Well, I'm getting heckled here, and then in the group, like we were just talking about, everybody's coming into the group to give everybody crap. And then what about the city council meetings, man? The mayor's got all these people. A majority of them aren't even from here, and they cause such a scene at the city council meetings that people just don't want to be bothered with it. I mean, I've seen disorderly conduct I don't know how many times, and then they see Bonnie get arrested for online harassment when I seen Judd Weaver on a body cam pushed into his Jeep. I mean, that's assault in my opinion. Not I'm buddy with Judd Weaver or any of that stuff. I just say how I think it and feel. I've mentioned people that I would support, like I like Tracy Hanley for mayor. I don't have any particularly allegiances to her. She just seems like the most for the people person, and she seems like, what Laurel County really needs is a bunch of people that are willing to work together.
Right.
How's anything going to get done ever? How much money is being wasted over this stupid address thing where everybody knows the mayor lives all the way out in Kiwi? Why are we even going to court, man? Why don't he just resign and back out? Why don't he go back to that WB transport or whatever he did? Because it's just dividing the community. There's hate and there's bullies. I think if we get all new leaders in there, like get me, get William, get Tracy, Robert Bruner, get a fresh. I mean, out with all the career politicians, get a fresh start. Let us go in there and clean house, man. I have a really good feeling, in my opinion, that we're going to find a lot of things weird with the budget or wasted spending, or who knows where missing money is and contracts. And there's been so many failed promises to the community that I mean, and it's the problem not just here, it's a problem everywhere with the government, all the way up to
Right.
DC, state level. Andy Bashir's, not any better. Heck, the school board director in Fayette County and Lexington, millions and millions in travels and all that stuff. It's the politicians are for themselves and they get rich. They don't care about the people. Even the people they get coming in here heckling, they don't really care about those people. They're just a tool. And my narcissist abuse training, they call them flying monkeys and stuff to do the dirty work of people. But anyway, and it's the flying monkeys that are silencing people to where they run them off from. Do you remember when Doug Harless first happened? How the whole city council meeting was packed, it was outraged. They let people speak, and people were actually speaking. And then slowly it faded away, not because people don't want any justice for Doug, but they slowly are fading away because they're just heckled and harassed. And, I think that's the problem with like good cops or people that don't go along. If they speak, like a lot of the cops might actually be really great cops under a different leadership. There could be hope for them. They're just doing what they're told and they're doing what they're taught. So, and they bully people and they silence people. You know, it's just really sad.
Well, let me ask something. I've been sitting here quietly listening to you and stuff.
All right.
But you've been talking about, freedom of speech, giving everybody the rights. You keep mentioning these hecklers and stuff like that. In my opinion, you have to take the good with the bad, regardless of what it is. So,
well, I think there's a difference between freedom of speech and harassment.
Well,
like AI pics and all that, and I have.
It could be.
You said when you see me post, I don't really engage back and forth with these people. They're just doing what they're doing, and they have a right to speak that way. So yes, they have that right, and it would be my job to protect it. But
well,
also
a lot of people can see it as harassment and stuff, but it's the internet. The internet's so broad now, you can't get past it. You have to accept the good with the bad. So even on your Justice, for Laurel County page and stuff like that you run, you have mentioned several times since sitting here that you have blocked people from it.
Oh yeah, we're blocking people for the whole time. Anybody that come in there,
ain't that blocking their freedom of speech? Whether
it's not a government group, man. It's a private group for people that are tired of the corruption to have a platform to speak without being harassed or stalked. If I let all that go on, it's just another group where the people come in and silence all the people.
Well, we get a lot of people on our page that sends us crazy off the wall stuff.
I'm blocked from the sheriff's page, John Rick's page,
and I'm not for that either. I don't think that's right.
Those are government pages.
Especially sheriff's page stuff. I don't think anybody should be blocked from that. But we don't block nobody. I don't give a crap what you get on there and say or this or that. I'm just going to ignore you. I'm not going to block you and stuff.
It gets into endless back and forth of and foul language and just being nasty or threatening of people. Each Facebook group has their own rights to set whatever rules that they want. And in our group, we want people to have a voice without being heckled. Those people can go on their own profile and post them. Now you're doing a podcast. You want as many people to come in here. What you're doing is completely different than what we're doing in the Justice for Laurel County group, because we just want people to, it doesn't matter who they are, to have a right to speak out. And with the hecklers and all that stuff, and the fake accounts, and then it's just mainly harassment. We just want people to feel free to speak about whatever they want.
See, and
without being silenced.
Jericho has that opinion, and I have one that says, "Hey, things need moderated." You got to moderate stuff.
I mean, if people get in here cussing up a storm, there's kids that watch the show. You let it go. I think it's inappropriate for cuss words. That's about the only post that I will delete is when people get foul language.
We tell all of our guests, you come on here, you can say whatever you want to say. We're not going to repeat it. We're not going to say the stuff that you say. I can't control you, but I can control myself.
Right. Well, I can, in a group like that that's designed to give a voice to people that otherwise do not have a voice, where else can they have a voice where they can speak out? That's what you were the question that you asked me before him was about people getting silenced. So that's the purpose of that group, is so that people can speak out and not be attacked and all that stuff. And then if people are just coming in there to argue, it's not a place for open discussion. It's a place literally to expose corruption, to call out things that aren't right,
So again, I'm on the other side of that. I believe that things should be moderated. I believe that we've had people come on our page and get attacked when they
haven't been under the full weight of the Weddle crew. They've been in here. They're not heckling you guys. They're heckling.
They messaged us. They messaged us. They were like, listen, I was just trying to ask somebody a question.
For the sheriff's page, first thing I would do if I was elected sheriff, everybody would be unblocked, and I would do it exactly how you're saying for the official sheriff's page. But for what the purpose of the Justice for Laurel County group is, it is for people to have a voice free of being harassed and stalked. And see, a lot of people don't want to speak up because if they it's dangerous for people to like some comments in our group. People are afraid to like it and they're afraid to share it because these people will come in here like they're coming in here. And I mean, to me, this is closer slander and harassment is what I'm seeing up there. That's not freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is calling me out for factual stuff, but to slander me and say that, I don't know. I'm seeing something. I'm trying to ignore it because I want to stay on topic, but I think we covered that pretty good, though. The point of the group is so that people have a voice without being silenced. And then with the sheriff's page, the only people that would be banned from the sheriff's page, I think it's inappropriate for on the sheriff's page. It would be inappropriate for the foul language and all that stuff. And we're not going to post no pictures. We're not going to do no more DUI checkpoints.
Yeah, but I think a lot of these pages will work themselves out without having to block anybody. You know, you're going to have you're going to have all kinds of people getting on there saying off the wall crap.
Mm-hmm.
The public, the general public, will ban them.
Yeah.
The general public will start, you know, the ones that care,
right?
The ones that truly care, them are the ones that will like, all right, I've had enough of this guy.
Most people are just silenced and just quit commenting and posting.
Yeah.
What actually happens. So
that's
actually the people doing the harassing typically win, and then they run off opposition and they run off people. I mean, what about the people that are? Shouldn't somebody have a right to be able to make a statement or bring up something to attention without being attacked and harassed?
Most definitely.
What about their rights?
Definitely, everybody's got that right.
Right.
And for us to just sit and block them because we don't like it, I don't think that's right.
Well, we don't. We just block people for literally just coming in to argue and attack. I mean, there's one thing, we never block somebody just because they have a difference of opinion. You have to be really nasty, you know, or you have to be out of line to get blocked, like not respectful, you know. Maybe in this internet day and age, we need to get back to respecting everybody a little bit more, one another, because the level of disrespect, you know, people can't just, now if it was where people could literally just have a civilized debate back and forth, okay, that's fine. But you're pedo, and all this stupid crap, man. You get automatically, you call them pedo, you're out of the group.
Well, and like I said, you're not going to be able to help everybody. You know, you're going to have them people. You're going to have the hecklers, as you call them, and you're going to have the people that's going to fight the hecklers, and then you're just going to have the people that's going to sit back and watch it all. Yeah,
yep, but, and there's a lot of them watching.
Yeah, there is a lot of them watching. But
a lot of them. The silenced majority is watching.
But eventually, the silenced majority is the ones that finally speak up and bring an end to the hecklers.
And you know how they do that?
The ballot box.
Bingo.
It's a ballot box.
Not on Facebook. You know, I mean, some people, you know, if they publicly comment, these people will call their employment and make things up and all that. It's just too far. There's freedom of speech and harassment. So maybe you're right, maybe I'm right. We just need to find that balance in the middle, and that's what we need to shoot for.
So before let's pull it back in.
No, go ahead.
Let's pull it back in. So we were talking about the silent majority and kind of went way left that way. But there is a lot of people that are afraid to speak up who they're voting for and why.
That's who I'm trying to give a voice to.
There is a lot of people, and because I know people that won't put a sign in their yard in London because they're afraid of the opposition that they may have for having that sign in the yard. I have people complaining about people knocking signs out of their yards that they had in their yards.
And that's ridiculous. That's vandalism. That's crime. And that's not cool. That's harassment. That's damage. You know, I don't think anybody should break anybody's sign.
See, I don't either. And I think that's kind of what you're talking about, is how people are afraid to say who they're with.
Yep.
And, having you here is an opportunity for these folks to get to know you. I mean, they see you on the page or whatever, but I mean, like, you've been very pleasant to us. Like, everybody's been very pleasant to us, but you've been very pleasant. Right. And like I said, I think a lot of people, if they knew you or they got to sit down with you and you listen to you talk about because I mean, you're passionate about it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I
want to make a difference. I feel like we can make a difference in a lot of people's lives by putting an end to the tyranny that's going on here.
So kind of hit the reset button on it. If you were to get elected sheriff, what would you do? What would be one of the first things that you tackle?
One of the first things that I would do is, now going up into it, I'd be doing my homework on all the deputies and pulling body cams and procedures and educating, probably go to the class to become a law enforcement officer myself as well.
See, that was a question that somebody had asked.
Yeah, I definitely. Yeah, I'd want to know everything about it. Like when I got into t-shirts, man, I know anything and everything. There's nothing that I can't solve in that business. But The first thing I want to do is get back to the rule book and the Constitution. People are getting pulled over without probable cause. People are getting smacked around once they're in handcuffs. They're beat. They're given extra charges. There's just a lot of things happening in the community that I've heard from a lot of people. And so it's not like the Doug Harless is an isolated incident or this other. It's because they're not doing things the way that they're supposed to be done is why these things are happening. Like, for example, Doug Harless. That's out in the county. And most counties the sheriffs would always serve the warrants out in the counties. But Mr. Root didn't care, and they let them come out into the county anytime he wanted. So by not
to be fair, he said he didn't know.
But he never wanted to be bothered. He let them. It's not like that was the first warrant they served. They did that as business as usual.
Oh,
they took 911.
I didn't know that.
They took 911. I ask anybody, man. They've been all over the county taking 911 calls, domestic violence calls, doing patrol and traffic stops outside of the jurisdiction. And that was okay because they're just off in a big boys club doing whatever it is that they want to do. And, people are getting bullied and attacked. There's just, they're not very nice. I mean, I had interaction with about 15 different deputies through my situation. And one of them's in here not being too nice right here. He's the biggest idiot I've ever met as far as, not knowing anything about laws and Constitution and rights and property rights and all that stuff. But the first thing that's most important is getting everybody to do the job by the book, putting in cameras in the every vehicle. I heard Root say when he was in here that one of the best things that he likes the body cams because they help and they prove the story, right? So every cop should really prefer to have them because now just play the camera and they'd be in the good. But they got these 37 Tahoes that they mostly bought with drug money and all that stuff.
That's what he said that, yeah.
And but yet they didn't get the option with the cameras. Driver, passenger, front, rear. These when they had accidents in vehicles or pulling people over. The cameras don't lie. They give you total transparency and to see what's happened. If you work in a bank, you're on camera all day. If you work at Walmart, you're on camera. Everybody's on camera. Hell, they're putting up cameras all over the roads to watch us all the time. So I think the cameras and then policies, procedures, maybe make them watch Roadhouse, the movie. Remember that with Patrick Swayze?
Be nice.
To be nice.
Yeah.
They sign up for the job, which the job is dealing with people at their worst. So you can't be mad and aggravated when people are upset and, husband and wife just got into a fight or, somebody got into an accident, they're really shaken up. You don't need to just, they're DUI. People get DUIs that weren't even drinking and stuff like that. So just getting to the rules, the policies, the procedures. And, I hear that John's pretty much an absentee sheriff. He doesn't really spend a lot of time in the office. There's even a church that had bullets shot up and, he's nowhere to be found. I don't know how that's not all over the news, but just getting back to the basics. I think that if they actually did the job how they're supposed to, a lot of problems will just work themselves out. Being nice, be nice, professional. Domestic violence situations, de-escalation tactics. They're so hot to trot. They were so hot to jump and believe one side. They didn't take any time to find out what's going on. They talk to somebody on the phone and they don't really know what's going on. And the decisions that police make can alter somebody's life. To arrest somebody when they shouldn't be arrested or all kinds of different situations. So, and de-escalation, that goes in with being professional. So just an overhaul of all that. And then I have other ideas. It's been talked about the kids' ranches and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And since I've done a lot more homework on the DARE program, because I thought the DARE program was awesome, maybe because I was printing their shirts in Woodford County for 10 years and I like that check every year. So I thought the DARE program was working pretty good for me. But I've heard that in a lot of counties it got used more as a way to interrogate on the parents or users or something like that. Wasn't as much of a drug educational thing. And then this modern day world is totally different. I think the ranches is a ridiculous idea. What are you going to get, like 20 kids to go out, for a ranch, 40 kids to go ride some horses and learn about drugs? I think a new program, totally new, which, man, I could use the help if anybody had any ideas in the community to help structure it, help name it with a good acronym or whatever. But to do a drug education program in the schools, like one grade, just like DARE. But in addition to the drugs, why not crime? Why not talk about crime and stealing and what happens, and then a field trip to the jail, law enforcement? So I think a new modern day program talking about the drugs, talking about crime, give them a nice little field trip. You have some people over at the jail ready to speak to the kids. Have some people that can take their teeth right out and say, this is what's going to happen. Do you want this? You know, some scared straight kind of type stuff or something. I don't know. Just some ideas, but I know right now, no kids getting an education on nothing to do with drugs, sex. I don't know if they still do sex ed or anything in school.
Salesman to salesman right here.
Yep.
I've been a salesman for many, many years too.
Okay.
What's the best sales tactic?
To truly believe in your product with passion and 100% behind it. If the customer knows that you believe in what you're selling, it's easy to sell.
Okay, that's called role play. The best sales tactic is word of mouth.
That's marketing.
You make a good sale.
That's marketing.
You make a good sale through your role play. Word of mouth is going to sell for you.
That's marketing.
So the horse ranch, you said, 20 kids, what 20 kids going to do? 20 kids is 20 mouths that's going to go out and tell all the other people.
Yeah.
So that's where that builds up. Yeah, you may only get a few kids, but
out of how many?
But every single summer, more and more and more is going to want to come. So, and you may only be able to slot 20, but every single summer you're going to have 20 different faces.
Yeah, I'd like to reach them all, though.
Over the course of 4 or 5 years, that's a lot of faces that's been there. That's a lot of mouths that's going to leave and be like, hey, let me tell you what I learned. Let me tell you this and that. So you got to think of the deeper parts of what, Root and Grimes and all them other people was saying about these,
I know, but how many kids what grade do you get the DARE program in? Like 5th grade or something?
I think it was 5th grade.
How many kids do you think are in a grade in the entire county? Like one grade, about a couple thousand?
No, that's probably pushing it.
Well, there's like 63,000 people in Laurel County, and what about 20,000 of them are under the age of 18? So I don't know. I myself, I like nationwide. I like big numbers myself as a salesperson. So I'd just like to get them all, and I'd like to give them a good program. And then I think as long as I'm sheriff, I think I'd like to do the program myself. Like part of it would be introducing myself to every child at some point, year by year, and getting that education to everybody. And then have the deputies in and out of there to where they're used to seeing the deputies in a different light. They got the school resource offices, but the school resource offices are just like cops for us out on the roads. We better stay away from that guy. So I don't know. I'd like to just hit them all. But for the record, word of mouth is marketing to get your next sale.
Word of mouth, it can be a very, very good sales tactic too. It's how you play it, how you make that sale.
Right.
Is you gonna get that word of mouth, and that's a sale and a sale.
Well, see, I was never good at sales from the aspect of like conning people into buying something I didn't have the best belief in. So like,
I'm like you.
When I had windows and siding, I had literally the best damn windows and siding there. They don't even have windows and siding around here.
I'm like you. I'm not gonna sell something I don't know.
Or don't totally 100% believe it.
I'm going to learn it.
I'm not a holler at shyster or anything.
If I dip my toes in water,
I believe in what I'm doing.
If I dip my toes in water, I'm going to learn it.
Right.
I'm not that type of person to just.
I feel like I should just give Jericho this seat. Like he's talked more of this.
You want to come on over and sit down and get a little closer, man?
Like he's talking more in this episode.
I got a camera right here. I'm on camera also.
There you go.
But I mean, even with all of this stuff, you seem to be a great salesperson and all this and that, but I think word of mouth, even in as
absolutely,
sheriff, because you got to think.
Well, that's how I built my empire, was word of mouth. So you're not wrong.
Because you got to think, even as a sheriff, all the bad you've heard, right?
Mm-hmm.
How'd you hear it? Through people,
right?
So with making a change, with your betterment. That's word of mouth.
I will 100% agree with you because the way that I could get elected next Tuesday is the silenced majority through word of mouth. I don't have $100,000 to go give a bunch of kids to ride around in their trucks with these big expensive signs and all that stuff. So word of mouth is my only shot. So, you pulled me around full circle. I'm with you. Good point.
Well, I'm geez, Pete, Jericho. He's talking more this episode than he's talked the last 6 episodes combined.
because he's saying a lot I can relate to.
Right. Well, let's get on to remember before you and Root were talking about like the what do you call them, the First Amendment auditors on the body cams. Like, remember I was talking earlier. I was like, That's so 5 years ago. Like 1 out of 20 of these videos I watch are actually First Amendment auditors. The rest are just everyday civilians getting slapped when they're cuffed or beat or shot or, all this ridiculous stuff. So, that got played down on that episode when, no, it's everywhere. People are seeing it every day. And I think each day that goes by, I think there's just so much more of it for people to see of cops just, no probable cause, being bullies, real quick to go to violence. I don't know what it is with their testosterone level or something to where they don't have any de-escalation tactics,
because they
calm down.
I agree with you on that. I truly don't think that they are properly trained. I'm like you. I have watched a lot of videos, and Paul makes fun of me about this.
Yeah, no, this is going to be another long one.
No, but Paul makes fun of me.
You want to go on break ahead of time?
No, Paul makes fun of me about this all the time because I get so invested in some of these videos. But I've tried focusing on like Kentucky State Police and
there's plenty of them in there.
I try to focus on the state I live in, and it is unbelievable. Even the Kentucky State Police, how many if you just say something that they don't like,
right?
If you try to question them in any way, they just rip you out, throw you down. I've watched.
And how do you like that?
I hate it.
Yeah, that's why
I hate
out of the group. Got you on that one. Yeah, we hate it too, man.
But that's physical abuse.
Yes.
And talking is not physical.
Okay,
abuse.
You're right. Well, no, there's a lot of physical abuse, but I don't know. I just like to be a barber, you got to go to school for like 3 years or something. Right. But to be a cop, you got to go to school for like 3 months, and I just don't see in all that education where life experience comes in. 'Cause most of these guys are pretty young, and then also. How long for a lawyer? Like 8 years, 6 years to be a lawyer?
It seems like it's even longer than that, I believe.
You think that there'd have to be 8 years? You think there'd have to be a lot more education on knowing the law to enforce the law? I don't think they spend a lot of time on that, and they certainly don't do very good, even as a nation as a whole, with probable cause and procedures and all that stuff. But boy, they having fun with me, ain't they?
Well, we knew there would be some folks in here like that.
Yeah, I'm used to it. I get it. This is what's whoever those people support, man. They definitely don't want to vote those people.
That's what the tough part about it is people are so
this isn't freedom of
stuck
speech.
on
This is more heckling. Freedom of speech is like standing up for what's right. Sitting there telling me my jacket smells like hog dog water or whatever that stuff. I mean, that's just like a full-grown adult is saying that, or somebody that's 16 going to high school saying that. So, I don't know.
It would be better if they'd ask tough questions and
they have no real questions.
Say stuff. Yeah. No, I totally get you on that stuff. But so we just got 2 minutes before a break.
All right, well, give me a good question.
So here's the next question. How would you go about bringing the de-escalation stuff? Is that something that you would just bring to the department, or would you find a program that you send people off for? Or?
Man, just like in sales, I've trained people how to sell where they've not sold, and I guess there could be a little bit of salesmanship in how the police deal with the people. I get that there are certain things they need to do, like when they. They're going to trick you up by asking for your ID and then also ask you where you're going and stuff. It's a DUI tactic, and that's a great tactic and all that stuff. But like when somebody starts getting upset, I mean, these guys just need to be taught, like, your job is to calm them down and in this whole altercation as peacefully as possible. It doesn't matter what they say or do to you. You're getting paid to do the job. Back to the Roadhouse movie, just be nice. You chose to do this for a job. You either accept it. If you're going to get easily offended, then I think it's the wrong line of work. If you get easily offended, you shouldn't be a cop.
Well, you even said, and Katie, that's a great question. We'll ask him when we get back from the break. But you had even said, you're like, Paul, I don't think that, I think if these people call you names, this and that, you got to be able to take that stuff. Even if you're a police officer, that you've got to be able to say, listen, let me just de-escalate this. Let me just, because
that's the point. Going to jail or not that night.
That's the point I was going to make.
Ruining a family for the next 12 months in court.
That's the point I was going to make. Is you had said, Paul, I'm not even sure that we got a bunch of bad deputies.
All right.
We might just have a bunch of deputies that aren't trained well.
We got leadership problems.
And I don't, when you
I
go
think the
in-
deputies, if they're trained right, I think they'll do right. I think they're just, you become product of your environment. Kind of like you've seen that picture with the strawberry where you put it next to the rotten one, y'all start becoming rotten.
Yeah.
You need to clean out the rotten ones. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine.
It's 8:01. We're gonna go on break right fast. Let's, I feel like tension has definitely risen, so we need to get some smoke breaks in. So give us 6-7 minutes, however long this commercial is, and we'll be right back.
Located at 511 South Main Street, Corbin, Kentucky, Sugar Booger's Custom Cakes has been bringing delicious treats to the Tri-County area for over a decade. Whether it be a cupcake, cookie, cake pop, brownie, or a signature one-of-a-kind custom cake that will be the star of any event, Sugar Boogers has you covered. Easy online ordering with polite, knowledgeable staff guaranteed to make each experience easy and stress-free. Go check them out on Facebook or give them a call for a free estimate. Sugar Boogers Custom Cakes for all occasions, 606-344-6595.
To help our county, to help our district, most definitely our district, but it's our county too, to help it move it in the right in a better direction, and be able to leave it better than I found it. Be there when you call. Be a face. Be a voice for the 4th District, and I promise you, I'll give you 110%. Number 1 on the ballot. Hopefully, I'm number 1 in your heart come May 19th. Appreciate your vote.
Eugene Smith.
Putting the 4th District first. Leadership you can trust and results you can see.
Paid for by the candidate.
How do you do? Come on in, old friend. Oh, you're welcome anytime. Sit right down and we'll have a talk, and you can tell me what's on your mind.
In the heart of Corbin, something extraordinary is taking center stage. A venue where music feels timeless, where every performance matters, and every guest is treated like they belong to something unforgettable. Built on elegance, driven by integrity, designed for artists, dreamers, and nights that deserve an encore. This isn't just another venue, it's the new sound of Corbin. Kenny's, located at 4672 5th Street Road. Come out and hear good music.
You got to come check out this new venue, Kenny's. This is Mayor Susie. I totally approve this message, and I approve this place.
Well, she found him with a Winchester to his throat, with a tear in his eye.
Are you looking for somewhere in Corbin, Kentucky to host your next event? Here we have it at Harvey's on Main at 115 Main Street. Let's check it out. Step into timeless charm and unforgettable elegance at this stunning historic venue. With breathtaking architectural details and an inviting open floor layout, Harvey's is the perfect setting for your next special event. Delight in the breathtaking bar complete with tap, a fully equipped kitchen for seamless catering, clean and accessible restrooms, a beautiful elevated stage for speakers, performers, or presenters. And for weddings and formal events, relish in the comfort and privacy of the bridal suite. Whether you're hosting an intimate gathering or a large celebration, Harvey's on Main provides the perfect scene to create lasting memories. Thoughtfully designed by the owner, who will be by your side every step of the way to ensure all your wants and needs are met. Book today and let Harvey's bring your vision to life.
Are you a jerky jerk?
You're holding it, right?
Yeah, I got it.
Just give me 1 second.
RJ's Beef Jerky. Real jerky for real jerky jerks.
Can you give me a piece?
Yeah, of course.
Kick off your boots, come gather round. We're digging up secrets that can't stay down. Bigfoot's out there in the marching from who knows where. No sugarcoating, we're saying it straight. Bigfoot, alien, CIA. No sugarcoating, the truth on display. Jericho and Paul, bring it your way. From small town whispers to city lights, we're hunting the truth in the dead of night. Conspiracies spin and the rumors fly. Country Cupid is gonna tell you why. No sugarcoating, we're saying it straight. Bigfoot, alien, secrets to break. No sugarcoating, the truth on display. Jericho and Paul, bring it your way. Footsteps in the woods, lights in the sky. Some call it crazy, we just ask why. Laugh if you wanna, but you just might see there's more to the world than they want it to be. No sugarcoating, we're saying it straight. Bigfoot, alien, secrets to break. No sugarcoating, the truth on display. Jericho and Paul, bring it your way. Truth or a tale, come and see. We're gonna have some fun, y'all.
In a world where feelings are protected and men have traded big, beautiful beards for man purses and man buns, comes to you a podcast you always wanted and never knew you needed. A podcast where feelings are left at the door and conversations happen unfiltered and no sugarcoating. What is going on, No Sugarcoating Podcast fans? Paul Buchanan wanted to reach out. The month of April is going to be full of candidates. We're going to see a lot of different people from a lot of different positions running, primarily in Laurel County and the surrounding areas. The No Sugarcoating Podcast crew wanted to let you know that we are by no means journalists. Do not come to our show expecting breaking news in regards to what's going on in the elections. We simply have discussions. We are not journalists. We are not a news show. We have discussions. We set our candidates in front of a screen where they can read the messages and they can answer the ones they want to. And we try to include the people watching's questions to the candidates. However, we're unable to get to all of them, and some of the questions the candidates cannot answer. They're just legally bound to not answering the questions. Again, and we can't make them tell the truth either, guys. So, just wanted to kind of let you guys know ahead of time. Hopefully, you'll see this before every episode of a candidate. But, yeah, guys, we're not a news crew. We don't pretend to be journalists. We have discussions. We try to bring out the best of everyone that comes here. We have no gotcha that we're trying to do to any candidate. With that said, I hope you guys enjoy the podcast. Have a great day.
What is going on? We are back from that well-needed break. So now we're going to get into the hot and heavy questions. There's been a lot coming in, and I know we've passed a lot of them, but as you guys know, as we've been doing this, the first half show, typically just introductions. Now it's a time for the questions. So without further ado, I'm going to throw it back to you guys.
All right, well, I want to get into the first question right away, and you kind of spoke about it a little earlier, but it wasn't put in the same terms. And it was from Katie Johnson. She said, what would be your first 3 priorities in your first 90 days? And if it takes longer than 90 days, but what is your first 3 priorities?
Man, the first three priorities, which I pretty much answered it because you asked me a minute ago what was the first thing that I would do when I get in office, and that's basically number one is get the house in order. You know, go through the retraining, go through the things that I think needs to be improved to protect people's constitutional rights. I think a lot of the problems with fear of law enforcement and all that, as soon as we start making those changes and de-escalation tactics, I would like to get my feet wet with working on start setting up a program for the education, because I remember the DARE when I was a kid, and my mom never had that talk with me or anything about drugs or anything. So the only education that I actually got, and it did a pretty good job of frightening me off of drugs, because you know they'd use some scare tactics in there. And then the third thing is just, you know, rebuilding with the community, you know, getting involved with the community, finding out, you know, I'm elected by the people of the community. So knowing what they want, like I've done a lot of polls in our group that when it comes to they want the body cams worn. That's a pretty no brainer. Everybody wants them on the cars. Things like if I cut down the amount of arrests and all that stuff, it's going to definitely get into the budget. One thing that came up in our group not too long ago was deputies being able to use the vehicles to take home and stuff like that. And it sounds like cool perk and all that stuff. But as a business owner, you know, I'm thinking about the money of that. You know, like just the road deputies. There's 37 Tahoes, I think is what he said. Root said. So just imagine if every one of those Tahoes uses an extra tank of gas for personal reasons each week. And what's a tank of gas? About $100. So you're talking about $3,700 per week. That's almost $200,000 a year. Well, where does that $200,000 come from? You know, it comes out of the budget. It comes. They get all these fancy toys and all that stuff. I think there's some stuff that could be sold off. I think some vehicles could be used for 2 shifts during the day. They're already not supposed to have them. So I know some, but popular opinion with the community is most people don't think they should be taking those home. So, so getting the house in order, getting somewhere to get off and going with the drug program, because, you know, I got 4 years, and in order to get in with the kids and all that stuff, I'm going to have to hit the ground running and have something ready for the fall, I would suppose. And then just rebuilding the faith in the public, you know, for law enforcement, that changes are being made, and working with the community. So very good question, Katie. I appreciate the good questions. Thank you.
I think you've already touched on this one, but Josh is wanting to know if you get elected, if you are going to attend the academy.
Yes, I think so. Pretty much between now and then. Of course, I am starting my t-shirt business back up, and I got some people to help me run that once I get it up and going. But I would definitely want to attend the academy. I need to know anything and everything about law enforcement. I have years of experience of court and family court. You know, I was awarded custody of my children, and when they weren't in a good environment. So I'm quite experienced with that process. That's a part of the reason why I didn't like how it went down here, because it was totally different than it is anywhere else. But yeah, pretty much.
So let me ask you this. Did you say earlier, because a lot of people ask if they heard you correctly, did you say no DUI checkpoints?
No. And maybe they got some sort of legal loophole to do it, but it's a 14th Amendment violation of the Constitution. No law can be passed. I'm pretty sure that's wrote in the Constitution that can overpower a constitutional right. Now, it doesn't mean we're not going to look for drunk drivers. You know, I'm sure there's going to be certain spots and all that stuff where, you know, you can find them a little bit more often. But to pull over everybody and have a dog there and shake them down and all that stuff, I mean, that's just, in my opinion, that's policing for profit. And, you know, a lot of times I think they're nitpicking, like pulling somebody over for a light out on a license plate, or I don't know. I've heard tons of ridiculous reasons why people got over. It's where I think we need to concentrate our efforts a little bit more on, you know, real crime, like people getting hurt, people being stolen, robbed, conned, the drug problem. You know, there's obviously a drug issue pretty much everywhere in this country, especially in rural small towns in Kentucky. So I think that from what I've witnessed so far, it just seems to be going after a whole bunch of users. The dealers that they get seem to be like lucky they pulled them over and then they had a bunch of stuff in the car, so that's how they got a dealer. I personally don't feel there's a whole lot of investigation going on, you know, like, for example, with Doug Harless, if that was not Judge Westerfield's weed eater, would any, like, if you reported your weed eater stole, do you think a SWAT team, like, at 11 o'clock at night is going to go over for a weed eater for you or me? No, absolutely not. So those are some big changes that need to be made.
Well, I reported a gun stolen about 10 years ago. Not in Laurel County, but still ain't got it.
I just heard from somebody the other day that had a gun taken, and then their case was dropped, and they go up to the sheriff's department to get the gun, and they're getting run around in the story on they can't get their gun. We'll call you later and all that. And the guy's out a $500 gun illegally taken from him. If your case is dropped, you should get your gun back. So I don't think the people's rights are being protected at all. I think they're for themselves, and they're in the group, and the rest of us ain't in it.
Yeah. Well, we got Ryan on here. He's saying if you was to get elected and you do attend the academy, have you thought about who's going to run the place while you're gone?
Oh, I'd try to go through the academy before I took office. Okay.
Right,
I got all the way till January.
Yeah. Is that race is over Tuesday, right?
I'll be working, if I'm elected on Tuesday, I'll be working my ass off all summer long, getting hold of every policy, procedure, and manual. I already talked with so many people in the community that are telling me about their situation. We got enough cop videos to see how not to do it, right?
Right. So, what would your door policy be?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, a lot of people, and I think each of the people running for sheriff that we've had on here spoke about their door policy. Like John Root says, his will always be open.
Oh, okay.
And Robbie says the same. I think Jenny said the same. I'd imagine you would say the same. However, a lot of people say that some of those doors aren't open.
Well, there's a reason why those doors aren't open. I mean, if you can't act right, you're going to act a fool. That's pretty disrespectful. But that's me as a private citizen. As sheriff, it's a different role for me. Like I spoke on it a little while ago, that I would unblock everybody that's blocked. Like I'm blocked from the sheriff's page. I would stop posting those pictures of people's mugshots, because that doesn't do any good. The community as a whole don't want it. And that's a big problem, is the community wants the body cams. The community wants the DUI checkpoints to stop. The community doesn't want to feel hunted and preyed on. So those are all changes that need to be made.
So I'm kind of right in the middle about the post about people that get charges on them. Like I don't like it when it's my family.
Well, what about
that sounds horrible? That sounds horrible, right?
Until proven guilty.
Right.
Like what happened to Bonnie, for example. I'm pretty sure that was, in my opinion, that was a retaliation, for her being outspoken. She's obviously not allowed to have her freedom of speech, and then she gets these charges. But they knew damn well that the charges were going to be dismissed as soon as they went to court. But they still made her come to the house, get arrested, have to go change clothes, get your mugshot done, post bond, then you have to go to court, and then her case was dropped in like less than 60 seconds because there was nothing there. It should have never been. And I think that I've heard many of stories of law enforcement in this community that happens a lot. Like, even though they know the case isn't going, they're still going to jam you up and arrest you and embarrass you and humiliate you. Some people with their mugshots posted could lose their jobs. I mean, it just needs to go back to where, remember how it used to be where they just posted in the classified section, a rundown of what happened and all that. I mean, it's just humiliating and degrading. It serves no good purpose. It doesn't it doesn't save the people. That's what John Root said his biggest accomplishment was that he posts the pictures online so people know what's going on in the community. But when it comes to what they're doing in the community, we don't get to know nothing, and there is no transparency. So, it's a two-way street. So the sheriff's office should definitely be just as transparent.
Okay, we got Katie on here. She's wanting to know, what are you going to do if you was to become sheriff, to evaluate your deputies to see if they're even capable or can hold the temperament to carry authority responsibilities?
That's an excellent question. First and foremost, I'll be doing my homework on any employee deputies up until the point I take office, like going to getting the body cam footage and all that, so I can evaluate how they're performing. And then I'm not just going to make a list of people I'm going to fire. I'm just going to make a list of things that I think are not done right or could be done better, like de-escalation tactics. Like, maybe you shouldn't have arrested that person. Now that person's going to have to go to 16 court dates until they'll agree to anything to make it all in. What good does that do? It brings in money to the sheriff's office, but it doesn't. it doesn't help the community. That's why Laurel County is a little bit worse with aunts and uncles and grandparents raising kids and going after the users and all that. Did I answer all that all the way? Am I missing part of that? What was that? What was that whole question
The
again?
question is how would you evaluate whether the deputy has the temperament to carry authority responsibility?
Okay, well, one thing would be a new thing that people will actually be able to come in and make a complaint on a deputy, and then they're all going to be wearing body cams, and they're all going to be wearing. So when people make complaints, we should have the black and white evidence. You know, video does not lie. So I can go back, and if I see something like the kid Cody getting slapped and people laughing about it, you know, that's a serious disciplinary action just for laughing about it. But for actually committing assault, you know, like if we assault somebody, do we have to stay home from work for a week or a month with no pay, or do we go to jail? You know, so I think that the police should be held to just as high, if not higher, of a standard. You know, so
I think she was talking about hiring.
I thought she was talking about maintaining them and checking up on them.
I would.
The way that it's worded, it says, "How would you evaluate whether a deputy has a temperament to carry authority responsibility?" So I guess it could go either way.
Yeah, I think that would be either way. You know,
and interviewing them. You know, like sit down and have chats with all of them and just monitor their performance. You know, when I any business I ran, I had to monitor the performance of everybody. I would want to have a big giant TV like this up in my office, and when we get cameras on all the cars, I'd like to be able to see where every deputy is in the county that's on shift at any given moment, you know, and then just keeping an eye on them, managing them. A week at the sheriff's office for me would be, I typically always started my days at my shop, my business at like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. And then everybody normally came in at 8 in the morning. So I would like that. I would get in there. I would be in there Monday through Friday. You know, I would be running the show, man. Literally everything that's going on, I'd be keeping an eye on all of it. It's why the people would be elected me to do the job. So my mornings, and I think part of the question was how to, if I open door also, so it'll fade into this, is I think my mornings, I'm going to always be kind of somewhat unavailable, trying to make sure all the business is handled, everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. And then in the afternoon and evenings, I would be, you know, open door policy to, you know, people coming in and all that. I mean, unless I got to go somewhere for something particular or something like that, I'll be literally at the sheriff's office. I'll have admin privileges to the sheriff's office page, so you know I'll be monitoring that as well. I think I want to have I want to hear what the community wants, you know, and you know, even if I feel I want to do something one way, but I feel a majority of the people want it done a different way, I feel it's my obligation as being elected by the people to go with what the people want, you know. So you know, I know what I want to do most of the time, but you know, if I find out something I'm doing is not what the people want, like posting the pictures or the DUI checkpoints or not having cams on the car, if I want to hear from the people, what do they want, and that's what we're going to do.
Well, throughout this show, there's been quite a few people bring up the warrant that you've had.
Right.
Is that something you want to address? Or
Sure. It's one of the reasons I'm running for sheriff. It was a retaliation tactic, I think, even to prevent me from running for office. I will tell you, I was pretty nervous on that very last day. I had to walk up in that courthouse with a warrant for my arrest and driving. I was even nervous driving in the county and all that stuff. But it's total BS. You want to talk about freedom of speech, man? I had that warrant for having a Facebook group that's all designed to make my ex look bad. And if it wasn't for her, nobody would even really know who she is. And I have a freedom of speech right to name her and do all that stuff, but I don't do that. She's just another woman. There's women and there's even guys that will just try to rob their ex for all that they got. You know, she's not the first woman to try to do that to somebody. My problem's always been with the system. I have rights. I should have been protected from what happened to me. It should have never happened to me. Doug Harless should be in his home right now. I should be in my home printing T-shirts. Kid Cody should have never got smacked. And those are only just a couple of things that we actually know about. What do we not know about?
But it's been taken care of now. Like longer.
Oh yeah, and well, I bonded out. You know, in courthouse. I got Brandon Volkers representing me, and then the second family court judge recused himself from my case. So that ought to tell you a little something, because it's not every day judges recuse themselves, and I'm glad they did. So my family court case is no longer in the hands of Laurel County. So I actually have a shot at justice, but That's all injustice. Just like the sheriff's department tried to put me in prison for 1 to 5 years for criminal mischief of breaking into my house and damaging a house that I had actually just bought and fixed up and living in no way, shape, or form damaged anything in my house. And I think, when was that tornado? Was that 1 year ago today?
I think it was today or yesterday, I think.
The day of the tornado is when I went to like 14 different court dates, 4 of them grand juries, for criminal mischief. They wanted me to pay her like $4,000 more and have 5 years probation, where if I said anything about anything, they would throw me in jail for the rest of the 5 years. And I wasn't guilty of anything, and there was no evidence of anything. And can you believe they would put me through all that, and no deputy ever even questioned me? They're just going to go ahead and try to throw me in prison with no evidence. They didn't give me any kind of evidence till halfway through, like 6 months in, and it's just not how it works. To many people that maybe to the rich people or whatever, or that you have buddies where they stay off you, but to the rest of the people, there's a lot of people getting jammed up. I sat in criminal court about 15 times, and I've been in family court about 15 times. And when I'm in there, I have a pair of eyeballs and ears. I'm hearing what all these families are going through. And, you know, like the judge to me, the first judge before he recused himself, Judge James Jones, he goes, "Oh, I want to throw both of you all in jail, but instead I'm going to recuse myself." You know, it's just anger. You know, like I'm not angry. It's disheartening sometimes with the comments and all that, because I really don't feel like I deserve that. I really have everybody's best interest, civil rights. I'm trying to do what I'm trying to do for the people as a whole, to heal the community. All this back and forth and this adult bullying, I've never seen bullying like that, even as a child, you know, seen that much bullying. But sorry, I get off from the question and all that, but I just kind of whatever coming to my head in here.
Well, there's something else a few different people have asked.
Okay.
And I think this would really show.
No sugar, baby. Give it to me.
I think it's going to show your character how you answer this. But,
okay.
But it's about Bonnie White.
Okay.
If somebody was to go in, if you're a sheriff, and say she's threatening them or something like that and try to file charges, what are you going to do?
If there's actually any evidence of any threatening or a crime, I will do exactly what I have to do. She doesn't threaten people. She may threaten to expose them or do whatever, but she doesn't physically threaten to hurt anybody. So that would be ridiculous to even think she does that. But if she did, I'm going to serve the law equally to everybody. Nobody gets any special treatment. I don't actually get a choice in the matter, because as I take an oath to the Constitution, and the oath to the Constitution is going to be my word, my bond, and I'm going to live and die by it. If cops are, guess how many times they break their oath that I would give them before I'd want to get rid of them? How many times do you think I should give somebody to break their oath?
1.
Right? Okay. Same thing. Friend or not friend, I don't know. I think with the politics and the way things go on in this town, I think I'm going to try to keep myself pretty isolated from most of the other politics that go on in this town, and concentrate just on the people. You know, there will be a lot of boards that I sit on and all that. But honestly, I don't really want to get into the situation of whining and dining with all these people, man. I want to serve the people and do my job. And I'm going to take it very serious. And I'm going to be a morning, noon, and night kind of sheriff. I'm going to on call all the time, man. If something like Doug Harless happened, man, I'd be racing to the scene, and I'd be, if I wasn't notified about that within 60 seconds of that call coming out, shots fired out in the county, wouldn't you want me to be right there on site seeing what's going on? Wouldn't you want me to protect? Of course, I won't let LPD serve warrants in the county. So, if that had been the case, and that had been, they got to go out in the county anytime they wanted and do whatever they wanted. That was when Grimes was running it, and Weddle and Root were hanging out and having a good time together.
Yeah. Well, I just felt like
that's your opinion. Let me just say that's your
my opinion.
Let me just say that's your
from
opinion.
what I heard.
Well, I just felt like that was a good question, because you have mentioned how you and Bonnie are friends numerous times.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
So, and
hey, man, Bonnie's let me have it too before.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I get it, y'all. Every now and then, I said the wrong thing, and she got me. But she's a very reasonable person. But she normally, when she's going over the line, there's something that pushed her over the edge. And then think about this, there's it's like me and Bonnie up against like 50 people to 100 people that hate us and want to comment on us, that we're at the blunt end of all this hate and bullying all the time, to where, it takes a toll on you. I don't take it personally, to watch it on the comments. It was little distracting and stuff because I'm like, what? And some of the stuff people were saying didn't even make any sense. But people need to understand that, one, when she's going off, there's something that pushed her there. See, my narcissist degree on Facebook that I have, narcissists love to poke the bear and provoke somebody. And then when they do react, then they sit there and point the finger like they're the problem. That's a typical narcissist move. It's called gaslighting. And there's a lot of gaslighting going on in this town.
Let me ask you. There was a question that came through that I thought was pretty fair. So, if you were to become sheriff, and the mayor continues to be mayor, how are you going to be able to build that bridge?
I'll be totally professional. Got to do what I got to do, man. In the business world, you think I liked everybody all my customers or everybody I had to deal with? Not everybody's going to get along, and not everybody's going to agree with everybody. But the nonsense of the bullying, like you don't see me bullying or hate back or anything like that. So I'll be professional. I will do the job. I think the most important thing that I will do as sheriff is socially keep a distance from most of these people so that I'm not put in those situations. Like I'm going to run the sheriff's office and, attend whatever functions and things I need to for the community, but on a personal level. And even with it's almost like the law enforcement, like they're one big family and everybody's family and they got all these family members working. Well, hell, if there's one thing I learned in business, man, it's not always the greatest idea to work with family. And they expect to get away with certain things, and things get abused and all that stuff. To where I believe that I need to be professional. I need to not have these guys over at my house hanging out every night or anything. It's harder to be boss when you become super buddy with somebody.
So you think that maybe keeping your distance from folks would be
like socially, because there's too many things are done because of who they know and what other people expect out of them rather than what's really supposed to be done. Almost like the Republican and the Democrat, should I just feel a certain way because most Republicans do, or a Democrat should do what most Democrats want to do? I think that as a politician, I don't care what anybody's doing. I need to right or wrong, good versus evil. Just because my party says no to do this politics and hang somebody up and all this crazy crap, I think the only people that suffer are the people of the community. The citizens suffer from that. So there's just a lot of games. People got things on each other, and they use that and all that stuff. So I'd like to protect myself from that as much as possible. I'm not saying I'm going to be antisocial or anything. I mean, heck, I'd love to have I was a previous promoter, man. I know a lot of artists and stuff. It'd be fun to do some community events and all that, but as a whole, it's just something I learned. In my own business, I learned that lesson the hard way, that I became too friendly with people that worked with me, had them living at my home, and that turned out to be a total disaster. So, I'm not going to go that road again, and just be professional.
Have you already said your stance on like drug bust and drug raids and stuff?
Like how so?
Well, we'll definitely there was a question come in earlier, wanting to know where you stand on drug raids and all this. Like, is that something you're going to get heavy in if you was become sheriff? Or
I'm definitely going to be a lot. As far as currently, I feel a lot of people are targeted, like users are targeted. And I think a lot of users, man, just to get out of trouble, would probably rat out their dealers and stuff. I think I want to go after the sources and the people bringing it in, especially like hardcore. Like that needs to be a serious thing. Fentanyl. I mean, where the hell did fentanyl come in, and why do people put that in their stuff? I mean, to make it cheap, make more drugs or something. But I mean, that stuff's deadly, and lives are being lost. I mean, y'all need to just go smoke a little pot. It's pretty much legal now to get off that meth and the heavy drinking and all that stuff. Well, I mean, you laugh, but all these fancy rich people that laugh at meth heads, you go in their medicine cabinet and they got some stuff that will knock your ass off way more than some cheap, dirty meth would.
Oh no, I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you. I was just saying. I was just thinking, man. It just. So there are a lot of things. Let me just kind of dissect it a little bit. There are a lot of things that you said that I was like, man, that would be great if that changed. I know a lot of people that do get jammed up on little bitty stuff, and it's almost like that they just are a revolving door in the criminal justice system, and it's always just something little. Now I understand that breaking the law is breaking the law, but at the same time, what are we doing if we're keeping cycles on people, or keeping people in cycles.
Right.
Like you said, they may have families,
Regular customers.
And it's one of those things where I'm not suggesting that Laurel County have an Otis that just kind of comes and locks itself up when he's drunk or nothing. What I am saying though is and to be even more personal, my brother was somebody that would just keep getting jammed up over something.
And how's
small.
he going to come out of that?
He couldn't because
And how many court dates did he go to?
It felt like hundreds, and his
Was
probation.
he a dealer or a user?
Both at different times. Both at different times.
Okay.
But it was one of those things where it was always a dangling carrot, where it was, you know what, you pleaded this, get you 5 years probation, 10 years probation,
Which then means they can jam you up anytime they want.
and they knew, we knew, he knew.
It's for profit,
He
man.
damn well couldn't do 10 years without getting jammed up into something,
Yeah, you're supposed to have a right to a speedy and fair trial, and then when I got in that court system, both of them, everything just kept getting continued and continued and continued and continued, to where like not everybody can take off work. I mean, it'll destroy your life having to go to all these court dates. And what happens if you don't go to the court date? Then you go back to the pokey. So it's I can't do anything about the judicial system on how fast they operate, other than just make sure no constitutional rights are being violated, in the building that we provide security for, because a constitutional violation is a felony. So I'll be keeping an eye out on that kind of stuff.
Can I ask you what makes you think you're the best candidate for the job?
Man, really, because I'm wanting to do the job for the right reason, is to fix the problems and serve the people. Right now, I feel like they serve themselves. They're a clique. They're a boys club, a good old boys club, if you will. They're a tight knit and all that stuff. And
so I understand that about the people that are already in offices or left offices. But out of the 4 candidates, why are you the best, or the one that everyone should pick?
I'd say my success in managing large operations, big budgets, multiple people. I mean, that's a lot of work. Not everybody can manage 60 people. It's a lot of moving parts going on at a time. And I think I have more experience than all 3 of them put together in that category. And doing it with efficiency, not just go arrest more people.
Right. It's probably is off topic. What is everybody talking about a missing statue?
A missing statue?
Yeah, in Falmouth?
Yeah, the guy that is living in my house right now with a woman that is absconded on probation and wanted in 3 counties right now at my house in Lilly. Any law enforcement watching, go pick them both up, because they're all harbored fugitive and all that. He's a drummer for a band that he was living in my RV. He's a friend of mine, a drummer. He drummed with a bunch of people, and I was trying to help him out. And then I let him take my van to an event in Falmouth. And you know how like Lexington, Kentucky has like the horse statues and all that stuff? He was hired to perform at an event over 4th of July or something. And then I don't know what he was doing to think that it was a good idea, but he came home as, instead of a big giant horse, it was a big giant sheep all painted up and all that stuff. And then I didn't know where it was from, the whole story of it. And I was like, get that out of there. He thought it was going to be a decoration in front of, I didn't even know what it was or had nameplates on it. And I had him get rid of it, so I didn't see it. And then one of the days when they were doing all this stuff, I forgot that it was even back there. I go back there and look, and I see a little plate. It's property of the county. The county owned that thing. It was worth a couple $1,000s. So I returned the sheep statue that somebody else stole. I think he's on probation for another 5 years. So, and then he's in on some felonies that were committed against me. So they might get a little bit more jammed up in the future if accountability comes full circle.
So that's just wild. People know that.
I'm surprised that they do. I mean, I know the sheriffs do, because when I called to report it, they sent a tow truck out to get it, because it was too big to pick up, and I had a tractor at the time, so I put it on the back of a tow truck, and they stored it at the sheriff's department here in Laurel County until Falmouth came and got it, and then the case almost got dropped, and then I actually had a photograph of the dork that stole it sitting on top of it looking like an idiot riding it, and then that picture right there, I sent that to the detectives in Falmouth, and that got you busted, didn't it, Chad?
That's wild.
Sleeping in my bed.
That's wild.
with a wanted woman on felony burglary accounts right now. Go hook them up.
That's crazy. That's absolutely.
Thanks for bringing that up.
That's
Well, there's 2 or 3 different people brought it up. So I was just curious, what are they even talking about? Because that was the first I've heard of this.
Yeah. I've forgotten all about it until you brought it up. The statue. You had to think about it. She said foul mouth. I knew. Yeah, that was some business. You spent a couple grand and donated it to foul mouth. And man, when they were performing, they thought it'd be cool to back up my van and throw it in there and steal it.
so that's wild. I mean, it sounds like
That's the kind of people that robbed me. That's why I'm sitting here running for sheriff. It's not just that they robbed me; it's the corruption that did it. But anybody that you can thank those people for why I'm sitting here right now. Because if none of this ever happened, I'd be probably hiring about 10, 12 people out in Lilly, and probably #1 postal. You know, I was the number 2, 3 postal customer in the state of Kentucky for the USPS for 10 years running. You know, I used to come out and do big. They actually have their own little magazine with all the post offices. Been in that a bunch of times. Like from Black Friday to maybe about December 21st, we were having box trucks backing up to our shop at the end of each day. You know, picking up $20,000 worth of orders for the day.
see, that's just wild.
Big operation. I can handle big operations. That's very complex. It's a lot of orders and a lot of. I mean, we had probably about 900 different designs, keeping inventory, staff, managing between, doing all that. And then we had to market and sell, to where, the private sector is a lot harder to do, I would think, than a public office. Because a public office, you're handed a big budget and you just got to make it work and do your job. You don't have to, I mean, in real business, like even here in this bakery, if you don't have people coming in here buying your baked goods and you don't have customers and you don't make sales, how your business ain't gonna make it. So it's a little bit harder in the real world than it is in the politic world.
See, politic world's really tough in London right now, though. I mean, it's heated.
Well, now you understand why I want to stay out of it. I just want to do my job, serve the people, and people can say whatever they want to say about me. I'm not gonna hold it against them. They're not doing it off of their own interactions with me. They're just doing it off of things that they've heard about me and the people tell them, and the people that are heckling me too. If it was like really honest, integrable, moral, upstanding citizens, I'd probably be a little bit more concerned. But when they're just nasty people saying nasty things all the time, it doesn't hurt my feelings as much.
We always ask one question and this is wild. So, what is the biggest rumor you've heard about you? We've asked every candidate. What was Sowedo's was he was a cartel. Tracy's was that she was gay. John Roots was that he was gay. Matt Orr's was that he was a raging alcoholic.
I've heard better stories on all of them, but we won't go into that.
And then Justin Young was he's racist. Like we ask all of them. So I mean, it's not that I'm picking on you by asking, but what is the biggest rumor you've heard about you?
The biggest rumor is that I'm making up the stuff that I say about my injustice, or like I didn't actually own my company, or I didn't actually build that building, or I didn't actually pay for it. I didn't actually pay for the down payment. I didn't actually have a contract on the property. So really the biggest rumors that I hear are just, and nothing I've ever said has ever been disproven with any receipts. I've got receipts for days. I think that's why they didn't want to investigate my case. That detective was looking at my 12-inch pile of, bank statements and emails and text messages proving everything to be 100% true. Sometimes people think I'm a little bit of a jerk sometimes because I am bluntly honest. Sometimes if you're totally honest with people all the time, people like to be lied to, I guess. They'd rather it be sugar coated for them. I'm a no sugar.
I knew you were going to say that.
I was waiting to work that in. I'm a no sugar kind of guy. I just be. Well, that's what I don't like about politics. Politics, you got to play this game. You got to make this alliances here, and you got to do this favor here, and you got to do that favor there. And when I did the T-shirt world, I didn't do the T-shirt business how it was done. I forged my own way, and I think I did a pretty damn good job because $2 million a year, that's a lot of $20 shirts, man. So I just forged my own way in politics and campaigning. If candidates don't want to align themselves and get behind me and say that we're going to protect and serve the people, every decision that we make is going to be in what's in the best interest for the people. I mean, what government does that? Do you know of any local government that governs that way? How's things down here in Corbin?
Oh, we've got
a lot better.
Well,
we've not made national
my God.
news.
Anywhere is a lot better.
We've not made national news.
Oh, yeah, you have. Man, wasn't there some reporters that busted some, or was that Clay County? Some sheriff that was real rotten, and some reporters took him down a few years ago. Wasn't that down here?
That was in Whitley County
Whitley?
about 20 years ago, 20, 50. That was the Lawrence Hodge sheriff.
Oh, yeah.
That was 15 years ago, a few sheriffs ago. Yeah, I guess. Well, I guess it's London's turn.
Well, I mean, the fact that it is so much worse is pretty obvious in Laurel County. And when it comes down to it, the people that are the most responsible are the people that are leading. And the three biggest leaders in the county are going to be the mayor of the city, the sheriff of the county, top lawman, and then the judge executive. You know, those people are leading. If things are going pretty badly, it's a direct result of how they lead. So it's time for new management, man. It's time. William Eversole, get him in there as judge executive. We're becoming friends, and I wholeheartedly trust him that he's a man of his word, and every action that he does, if he's elected judge executive, he's going to protect the people and serve the people. I mean, even at his own cost. You know, sometimes like you screw up and you have to admit it, and it may cause you slack or trouble. You know, he's going to do the right thing 100% of the time. I am too. I'll be totally transparent, you know. When I think, I mean, wouldn't you like to hear a sheriff's office that actually fired a deputy for being bad one time, not putting him on leave, firing them, making an example out of them, that if you break the oath and you assault somebody or you commit a crime, like if you commit a felony to get somebody for a misdemeanor, that's not going to fly with me.
I agree with you. I would love to hear a deputy got fired rather than he resigned.
Right. I mean, it almost reminded me of a really quick, silly thing, but my son's school is elementary school. They punished everybody by making them walk around the track. So there was no paper trail of punishment so that their numbers looked great. You know, the number's going to be what the number's going to be. I'm not fudging no numbers. I'm not lying. I'm not hiding nothing. Full transparency. Community helped me. And then I've heard a lot of people ask me about community policing, you know, getting members of the community involved and, you know, take tips, take complaints, there's a lot of people like I couldn't get help. I was put on trial for a crime that never even happened when all I was really going in there was for help, you know, so it's time for a change. I think everybody knows that it's a big club and you ain't in it.
How do you feel about like inviting the public to do ride-alongs with officers and stuff like that?
Sure. I mean, I'd have to know more about it and the safety concern of it, you know, because you never know what kind of call somebody would go on. So I'd have to know more about that and insurance and all that stuff from a businessman aspect of it. But I think it would be good. I think, again, going back to a new version of the DARE program, you know, I think getting those kids to see people sitting in that jail and have like somewhat of a scared straight type thing, you know, I think it would leave walking through the jail and seeing some of the people in there and letting them tell some of their stories that they're going to be in there for the next 20 years and things like that. I think it might make a difference in some kids' lives to be like, they're going to know what's going to happen. Most people don't know what's going to happen until it happens, you know, so. Just educate them kids, man. The kids are our future. And if we don't change corruption into politics, how exactly much better do you think it's going to be when your kids are 20 years older from now? You know, so we got to make changes now for our kids' future.
Well, Josh wants to know if you're sheriff and one of your deputies gets in a fight because they got assaulted, whose side are you going to take?
Well, fortunately, it'd be real easy to find out with the body cameras. If, you know, if they were assaulted first, then they're in the clear. I mean, totally. I totally back my deputies. I'm not here to throw deputies under the bus. I've just had bad experiences and heard 1,000 stories of bad things that have happened with these deputies. So my job is to keep them in line. Now, the cops that keep in line and do the job and protect the community and serve the community, they honor their oath. They don't go out and just chase people and hunt and prey on them. I'll have their backs like no other, you know. And I'm just so you know, I was like really good friends with the sheriff of Woodford County. I mean, I got that, you know, I became good friends with the whole sheriff's department by doing that job and delivering shirts to there. And, you know, I've had the few customers that didn't pay their bills over the years. So I paid the extra money to go have them serve the people that owed me money and stuff. And, I used to throw really big parties and concerts in my backyard and at my shop. So, you know, I had a relationship with the police that I'd always go, hey, just so you know, we're going to have like 150 people at my shop tonight, and they're all staying the night at Holiday Inn. We're safe, you know. So I have a bunch of friends that are deputies down in Tennessee. I got some that go riding with all the time. And you know what? They actually hate cops. You know, and because a majority of cops are becoming, you know, like tyrant bullies and stuff. And I think that, you know, you heard the expression like, while the cat's away, the mice will play. You know, I think a lot of times there's no cat watching these mice, and these mice are just running around Laurel County wild. And, you know, I think it's time that somebody's watching and supervising them and following up and checking up on them and keeping them in line and making sure they honor their oath, protecting and serving the community.
See, yeah. I mean, obviously, Rick doesn't care about officers wearing body cams. I mean, he wears. he's got one right now.
Right.
It's a protection measure.
It is.
It's a protection measure.
If there's somebody busts in here, or if I'm walking around somewhere and something happens, it's undisputable what's happened. It's the smartest damn thing ever. And then the cops' cars, I don't think that they always want to have them on because they're doing bad or illegal things. I just personally think they just waste a lot of time hanging out, talking to their wife, maybe going home, taking a nap for a few hours. I don't know what they do. I tell you what, if I got a big TV on the wall showing me where everybody's at it all the time, you know, I've already looked into different systems and all that, to where the cameras and all that, and GPS tracker, where I can get automatic alert notes if a car's sitting somewhere for too long and why, when they're on duty and they're not. So I'll turn the sheriff's office into like a command center, where live I'll be able to see where every deputy is.
Yeah, and have them geo trackers on them too.
Yep.
You know, you can drop a pin on their house, and
I get reports of their average mile per hour, their top speed. You know, another thing that I would do, I don't know if this is a thing or not, but you know, I've probably in the past 2 months I've heard numerous stories about, you know, why they're in pursuit, you know, crashing into somebody because they're driving insanely fast. I think there should be some sort of speed limit over the speed limit that you can go on a call, like 20, 25 miles an hour. I think ripping and roaring down these country roads at 90 or 100 miles an hour just because they can in an emergency call, I don't think it's worth putting their own lives and additional lives at risk. Because I've seen video cams. A lot of people don't want me posting a lot of the stories they tell me because you know, it kind of rats out who they are and they fear in retaliation. But I've seen lots of recorded cameras on cops blowing, like somebody doing 80 or 90, and then a sheriff's deputy has to be doing about 110, 120, you know, rolling by them and all that. And then if you speak out against them, you can't file a complaint. They'll retaliate against you and all that stuff. And all just that all nonsense. It just needs to be completely redone and go by the book and for the people.
So is there something that we've not touched on that you really want to speak about tonight? We're running short on time.
All right. Well, if we're wrapping it up, it's really up to the people what's going to happen with the future of Laurel County. I'm more than capable of doing the job. William is. Nobody can question. They can make fun of us and make fun of my jacket or do whatever it is that floats your boat.
You've actually had quite a few comments on your jacket.
Yeah, you've had some good comments about your jacket.
Well, I mean, America, baby, you know, good. But that's one of the reasons why I wanted to come on this show, you know, right before the weekend. 'Cause this is, well, and then also anybody else doing any other podcasts, I'm available tomorrow. I'm available Sunday. I'm available Monday. And I can do 2 in a day. So I'm, you know, let everybody, you know, I wish that I wasn't thinking about early voting or something, or I may have wanted to come on Wednesday because there's already like a record of 2,000 people that have already casted a vote, which that's impressive. Good job, Laurel County. But, if you all want change, go vote for it. You know, a lot of times in the past, there were no options. Your opposition was literally ran off. You know, because I tell you, this is not a fun experience. You know, not your podcast, but the whole running for sheriff thing. This has not been the most fun thing to do. But I've just been wronged, and they took so much from me that I'm in it. I'm in it for the long haul. I mean, whether I win as sheriff or not, that doesn't make me go away. that just means I'll have my own podcast, the Laurel County Weekly News, next week or something. And I'll continue to fight for justice and expose corruption where it's at. And I was hoping that if the people will come out, the silent majority, the silenced majority, and go out, tell your family members, tell your coworkers, tell your friends, if you've ever been jammed up by the system or if you know it's corrupt. I know so many people that don't want to vote, but there's options now for real change. So if you let this election go by and you don't change who you vote for, what's happening in this county will not change. I promise you. Actually, in my opinion, it will continue to go downhill. So Laurel County, we could be the worst in the news small town in the state of Kentucky, and we can show and be a role model for the nation. And it's up to the people to stand up and vote for business leaders like myself, good, honest people. That our whole intention, that's what elected positions are supposed to be for. They're not supposed to be career politicians. They're supposed to be, you do your service almost like serving the military. You go do a term or two, serve it, work for the people and all that and turn that over. But I think we've gotten away from that about 175 years ago. And I think that, at least they wrote in the Constitution that we do have these elections. Otherwise, it would be total tyranny. So it's up to you whether you get change or not. If you like what I see and you're tired of being the part of the silenced majority, they cannot silence you. They cannot heckle you. They cannot bother you in that booth. Even if you have a John Root sign in your yard and you like what I'm saying and you feel this change needs to be happening, it's between you and God when you go into that voting booth. You can change your mind and vote for whoever you want. Now, if we do this and we pull this off and we go fix a lot of these problems and we're not in the news anymore and people aren't getting beat up and slapped, and then we kind of fix the situation, we can be a role model for other communities, for business leaders and stuff to step up. Like Michael Ferris is running for U.S. Senate. He's a for the people kind of guy. You ever heard that guy Bruner, or the moonshiner guy, running for governor? That guy knows his business. He's a smart guy, and he's going to go after stuff. So I'd vote for Bruner for governor, Michael Ferris for senator, and everybody's always been like, you can't fight City Hall, you can't do anything about it. Bullshit. You can do something about it. You can vote for somebody else that's going to get in there and do it, and that's what I will do. So number 3 on the ballot Tuesday, baby. Let's do this.
All right.
Not just Tuesday, tomorrow
and tomorrow,
Saturday.
Yeah,
tomorrow, Saturday, and get in on Tuesday. Number 3 on the ballot.
I got 4 questions for you.
4. We only have 3.
Well, I'm gonna add one because it hasn't been asked yet, and you normally do ask this. If you lose this election, are you going to run again?
Nope. I got my lawsuit filed, so I should be able to get my property back and get some accountability there. I feel that it's totally, if the people of this community don't want change, then I think it's a dangerous place to live. That's why a lot of people have moved out. So if you guys don't want me, then I'm going to move back up north, and I'm going to take my business and all that stuff up there. I'm going to feel I've already been retaliated and put through court, and then, got this stupid warrant and all this stuff over absolutely nothing. I feel it's dangerous for me. It's dangerous for anybody that wants to speak out in this county to live here. So if the community doesn't want better for itself, then I'm going to probably get out of this community. It will be dangerous for me to be here. So if I win and clean it up, I would run one more time, and then I would hang up. I think 2 terms I think that should, if it's the limit for president, it should be that limit across the board.
I agree. I've said that.
I agree.
Because like you got Westerfield and Root, they just been in it too long. Maybe when they first got in it, they were doing it for the right reasons. But I can personally vouch, without saying in my own opinion, I know that there's a lot of corruption going on, a lot of abuse of the people, and it's time to change. If the people don't want it to change, then it's not going to change.
Okay. Do you believe in aliens?
Yes.
Have you seen any?
The fact that we are here, to somebody else on another planet, wouldn't we be an alien?
We would.
Okay, and if it's possible for us to be here, and this microphone, and this cup, and this Facebook, and all this stuff we have, anything's possible. My favorite rocker, Sammy Hagar, the Red Rocker, he's a big believer in aliens too. And I've seen some weird stuff that did not make sense when I was a kid in the sky, but I was so young, I barely remember it. So I don't have any alien stories. I wasn't abducted by an alien. They sent me back, and all I got was his coat. But I do believe that if we're here, anything's possible. So what's that make you think? My next answer will be
The paranormal.
absolutely. Absolutely, man. Numerous times there's a presence there. I don't know how to explain it and don't know why it is there. I had one myself, but my wife and my kids had one night that we all woke up describing the same story. We were living in a house in downtown Greensburg, Pennsylvania, and at one time this house was a huge. This house was huge. It's probably like 5,000 square feet, and it was like a women's shelter. Somewhere in the 30s and 40s and stuff. It was like one block off Main Street. Very Western Pennsylvania is really, really old coal mine towns and all that. And every one of them got up in the morning. My mother-in-law was in town. It was right after I just got married, and they all talked about their feet getting tickled in the middle of the night. We didn't have any dogs or anything like that, and they all had the same story. And I heard some noises and stuff in that house all the time. And then I had another story on paranormal that I was staying in a house that was less than a mile from the house in Silence of the Lambs in Pennsylvania, close to Latrobe, Pennsylvania. And in the middle of the night, you ever hear those wind-up clocks that wind up on a thing? And I remember this clock goes off at 2 o'clock in the morning. It was my stepdad's girlfriend that I was staying the night while my dad was out of town. So she was upstairs, and the woman she took care of was upstairs. And then this thing went off for like 12 minutes. I watched it on the clock. You know, like it was like 8:59 or 4:59 in the morning, and then it went on for till like 13 or something. And then when I told her, my stepmom, the next morning, she was like, well, that's not possible. I was like, no, I watched the clock minute by minute. It was freaking me out. She's like, go wind it up right now. And I went and wound it up as hard as I could. And in order to, it only plays for 4 minutes. And then you have to wind it up again. And when you wind it up again, it stops. And I swear to God, this thing played for like 14 minutes or something like that. So, yes, I feel.
Okay, final question. Bigfoot.
I see your poster over there, Bigfoot. Well, it's funny you say that. We talked about Chad who stole the statue, right? The other guy that was living at my house that was an employee and all that stuff, I swear to God, he looks just like that. I think he's a descendant from Sasquatch. I mean, his face and all, I'll show you a picture when we get off of here. Brian Putnam. And he, you know, from Harry and the Hendersons. Man, listen to this guy mumble when he talks. I swear to God, I had Harry and the Hendersons on staff. And then, I've heard stories and stuff, and it's very believable. I mean, hell, they might have just evolved into where they're just regular people now over the years, but anything's possible, isn't it? We're here.
That's right. All right, so Paul, you want to tell them next week's lineup and let's get it out here?
All right, so next week we have
J Money.
We have James Jones on Monday. He's got one more push before election for city council because he is still running. There's some confusion of whether he is running or isn't running, but we are under the impression that James Jones is still running for city council. Is that correct, Jericho?
Yes.
Jericho, you spoke to him recently.
Yeah, he's been commenting on this.
He's on Monday show.
Yeah, he is on Monday.
Nice guy, isn't he? I mean, so polite and professional.
Yeah.
I mean, you really want to have a guy like that in an office that's a bully and just heckles people. Yeah, good luck with that one, James.
And we are going to have Jay Money on here Friday.
I actually like him lately, man. I love how he's hammering it down on Root.
So
and his impression of Root. Sorry.
We wanted to wait till after the election to have him on. We've been going back and forth about the redneck brawl stuff, and he gives us crap all the time on here or whatever. So we wanted to kind of wait till after the election because we want peace, guys. We want peace, but there's characters that stand out and that you'd like to have a conversation with, and not just see what they say, but see how they say something.
I believe everybody's got a right to speak and all that. Just quit going to the heckling part, whatever.
So that's
a good lineup. James Jones and Jay Money.
Well, Sunday we had a specialist with the DIPG.
Yeah.
We read on Facebook that he wasn't coming to town. He did not message us and tell us he wasn't coming, which I thought was really odd because it would have been the respectable thing to do. And I'm not saying he's not a respectable guy. I'm just saying that he didn't do the respectable thing of telling us before he told everybody else. So we had to find that out on Facebook, and we shared it with you guys as soon as we knew it. So there will not be a Sunday show this week, just Monday and Friday.
All right, so with that being said, we love you.